Chris, what are your thoughts on Google TV? Well, Google just announced it yesterday, of course, this being their effort in the world of television, at least the idea of television programming, bringing a Google experience to the world of TV. Now, most people believe that Google is the end-all be-all of the internet, and of course Google owns YouTube, which for all intents and purposes is online video. I mean, you could even ask someone who's never been on YouTube before what YouTube was, and they would tell you it's video. So I guess it makes sense that Google is now, working with device manufacturers to get their Google TV experiences into homes across the world. I guess it makes sense. Some people would compare Apple TV to Google TV, and I don't know if that's exactly fair. I mean, Apple has everything locked up in their universe as far as content's concerned on Apple TV, much like, iTunes itself. And Google is more like, hey, it's out there. If we can throw it in here, we're good to go. And so Google, I think, is taking a more open approach to the idea of having this box to better deliver information, content to your doorstep. What I thought was interesting was the announcement that came a day before at Google I/O, that being Clicker.tv. If you haven't checked this out, it's actually kind of neat. So head over there right now, Clicker.tv. And you may think right away, it's like, well, that looks kind of odd. Clicker.tv is a web experience that runs right within your web browser, and you can navigate television shows using your keyboard, your cursor. So instead of browsing with a mouse, you could use a controller of sorts. The idea is that you would use a device connected to your television, potentially, or any big screen, that you were sitting about 10 feet away from, and be able to control that experience without sitting in front of an actual keyboard itself. Imagine this being controlled by a remote control instead of an actual keyboard or a set of cursor keys. And what Clicker.com is doing is aggregating all of these shows that exist on the web in general and aggregating them into this one experience. So Clicker.tv is an application that doesn't rely, at least that I know of, doesn't rely on Flash, but HTML5, which is a part of the open web. Now, the videos themselves may actually require Flash, but the idea is they're building this rich experience by using open standards like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and beyond. So Clicker.tv, if you're looking for what a Google TV experience might be like, take a look at that. That's pretty darn close. You don't necessarily have to buy a Google TV set-top box to connect it to some other screen in your house to get that type of experience. You may have heard of Boxee before, and if anything, Google TV, I think, would compare favorably to Boxee. And I'd expect to see a lot more development from Google TV over the coming months, the coming years. Seeing a lot of unification potentially with Google Chrome, the Chrome OS, Google TV. If anybody would be worried, it would potentially be Microsoft. I mean, yes, they have a great gaming platform with the Xbox 360, but as Google highlighted at Google I/O, their conference where they just announced Google TV, there are already proof of concept 3D games running inside the web browser. And it's just a matter of time before that's going to translate to, a browser that exists inside a set-top box that isn't that expensive that connects to your TV. So instead of, having to pay hundreds of dollars to get a component for your home entertainment center, you may not even pay more than $100 to get a state-of-the-art entertainment delivery device. I guess if I was a television service provider, I might be nervous. I would be worried because, Google doesn't care about where you're at, right? If you're connected to the internet, you're online. They don't care. And normally, with traditional television service providers, I don't get what I want to see. I get what they tell me I get to see. And I have to use their experience, which by and large is lackluster. And Google has already said, yeah, forget about these traditional remote controls here. I mean, this is just not usable. I mean, they're talking about integrating the experience within, touchscreen devices like the Android operating system. And I'm sure it's just a matter of time before we see a Google TV compatible remote control software for the iPhone or the iPad. So they're just going to make it easier for you to get to the entertainment that you want to get to whenever you want to get to it. So the idea is, instead of having to demand that you get a certain station from your television provider, you're just going to be able to get to the content. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if with Google TV you'd be able to get to my content. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Ustream. I've got a podcast in iTunes. I'm everywhere. I mean, I really don't know of any television network that would pick me up. Honestly, I don't blame them. I'm not all that entertaining. But there are people who like talking about this stuff. To the point where someone asked, what do you think about Google TV? I think it's a great move. I think it's just the beginning of the end of traditional television delivery network mechanisms. Now, if anything, I think Google's going to wake up these network television stations and affiliates and I guess outfits. They're going to wake them up to the new concept of delivery. Instead of having to sit in front of this box at a certain time or have to remember to set my recorder to get something, I'm just going to be able to click and then watch. And that's kind of how it is right now. I mean, with an iPhone app or an iPad app or even an Android app to a certain degree, I can get to a lot of the content that I want to get to. Not every bit of content, but a lot of it exists on the web right now. And it's just getting easier and easier to get to. So instead of going through a gateway, Google, being a gateway, has always been open. You could go to Google, you could search for a video, and they don't just index YouTube, they index just about any video aggregator that's out there. Any type of video provider, they will bring it to a Google search result. So it's going to be the same thing that's going to happen, only it's going to happen with the television. I think within 5 years' time, mark my words, this is my prediction, 5 years' time, Google TVs will be in, I would say, about 30% of American households. Now, beyond, I couldn't really speak to that. But I believe 30% saturation. And understand, Apple TVs had a leg up for a while, but what have they done? Apple hasn't done anything with Apple TV. I don't have an Apple TV. I have no want, need, or desire to buy one. Would I get a Google TV? Potentially. Yeah, because it's an open experience. It's a good experience. So it'll be interesting to see the hardware and the experience unfold over the coming months as we hear more about Google TV. I think it's really going to turn a lot of these models for business, at least as far as television entertainment is concerned, on their ears. I'm going to be watching with great interest. I'm interested, too, in what you are thinking about Google TV. I haven't seen it yet. I've only seen what I have experienced on the web. And, I don't like speculating, about products and talking about products that I really haven't used. This would be an exception, since it is Google and it's Google TV. And, I know people have been asking me over the past day, a good 10 of you, at least, in email or, in chat asking me, so I'm just answering. What are your thoughts? Post a video response, post a comment, which you most likely already have by now. My email address, chris@pirillo.com. If you get your hands on one, give us a good review. Love to see it. geeks.pirillo.com is where you can post that review. chris.pirillo.com, my blog. Then we've also got facebook.com/Chris Pirillo, twitter.com/Chris Pirillo, youtube.com/Chris Pirillo, which will hopefully be accessible on Google TV. I can't imagine it not being. And then, of course, we've also got the chat room. Typically, Talking Tech is a part of this live video feed going out over the web 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, right here, potentially, at some point, on your Google TV. With any luck, I'll cross my fingers. At live.pirillo.com. We'll see you later.